What's up, photo freaks? I'm Matt DeConti. Welcome to episode 12. Today we're coming to you from probably my favorite location so far. Behind me is the house where, from the movie Back to the Future, Marty McFly's mom lived. And actually over to this side is where George McFly was up in the tree and spying on Marty's mom and totally ate it and fell in the street. Definitely one of the coolest places ever. Who doesn't love Back to the Future? Anyway, so today we are going to go over shutter priority or shutter speed. It is our third video on the exposure triangle. So when you get a chance, check out our other videos, exposure triangle, aperture, and ISO. What shutter speed or shutter priority can do for you is it shows motion in your images, and it's also used for lighting. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some shots. We have a zombie here today, and in the spirit of Back to the Future, Zombie's going to be riding a skateboard just like Michael J. Fox did, just like Marty. So it's going to be fun. We're going to get some cool shots, and we're going to show you all the steps, all the levels of shutter priority that you can check out. Also, before I forget, on Sony and Nikon, it's an S on top of the camera, and for some reason Canon puts TV for time value. I don't know why. They just want to be different. Leave it to Canon. All right, so that's pretty much it for now. I'll be back in a little bit after we show you some of the pictures. Okay, what's up? We are here talking about shutter priority. A couple things before we get started. We were originally going to shoot the zombie right in the skateboard in front of the Back to the Future house, but a little bit bummed about that. That wasn't working out too well. The zombie just about broke his neck, and the pictures weren't coming out that great, or at least not good enough to give you the examples that I want to give you. I wanted more objects moving in the background. Anyways, we ended up moving it over to Santa Monica Pier, and got some really cool shots there, some great examples. So we'll start to get into that. To begin with, the camera that we used was the Sony A7R II. I shot with a 24-70 G Master lens. Let's see, I guess that's pretty much it that you need to know for right now. When it comes to shutter speed, just a couple basics as you're watching these images. Remember, as you decrease the shutter speed, it doubles the amount of light. And as you increase the shutter speed, it's going to have the amount of light. And some basic settings that you would need or that you could use, or a general rule of thumb, is shutter speed settings. If you're going to shoot stars, you could set it at 30 seconds or 25. For general use, I do it at 1/60th. And for kids sports, you could do a 1/250th. For adult sports, obviously the adults are going to be moving quicker than the kids. You could do 1/500th to 1/1000th. Flying birds, that would be about 1/1600 to 1/2000. And like fast moving birds or things of that speed, like hummingbirds, 1/4000 to 1/8000. Those are some pretty good basic rule of thumbs that you can use. All right, so now we're moving on to the pictures. So the first photo, I have the settings at the shutter priority is at 1/2500th. And now remember, the f-stop and the ISO are going to adjust according to shutter, because this is when you have your shutter priority. That's the main thing you want to use and have control over, is shutter priority. And your shutter speed, and so the f-stop and ISO are going to adjust according to whatever you want your shutter priority. So for 2500, the f-stop is at f2.8 and ISO goes to 6400. This was just about at golden hour, so it was around 7 p.m. Along the coast, and yeah, so it's really dark image. Actually makes the zombie look kind of scary, and because you don't really fully get the look. So hey, maybe this is your kind of thing with a little bit of Photoshop. Although keep in mind, I must add that I did not Photoshop any of the pictures, didn't do any of them, not even cropping. So it's just, this is just the what you would see for the raw image. So yep, that's what that one is. Let's move on to the next picture. Okay, so next one, the shutter is moving to 1/1600, f-stop 2.8, ISO 6400. There's no real motion blur going on right now. That's what you're looking at is mainly from the f-stop, the background. But there is more light coming in, and you are slowly starting to get a little bit more detail on the zombie. So again, very cool effect. I kind of like it. But yeah, those are your settings. That's what's happening with f-stop and ISO. Not much. So let's move right along to the next one. Okay, so now we are at shutter speed of 1250. F-stop 2.8 and ISO is still 6400. A little bit more light. Not much anything else going on. No motion blur, just lighting up the image, getting more detail. The f-stop and the ISO are just, they're staying right where they are because, yeah, they want to get in a good amount of light for these images. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We'll move right along. Okay, so we're at shutter speed of 1000, or 1000. F-stop 2.8, ISO 6400, and you're just seeing more light coming in. So you will start to see some significant changes in some of these upcoming pictures. But right now, all your settings are staying the same except for the shutter priority, shutter speed that you are changing manually. So let's go to the next photo. Okay, we are at shutter speed 1/800, f-stop 2.8, ISO 6400. F-stop, ISO are again the same. Picture is looking really cool. I love this look. I love our zombie. You're starting to be able to see some of the detail in the jacket, some of the tears. It's still dark, but everything else is lighting up around it. So yeah, let's move on to the next shot. Okay, now we're at shutter speed of 1/640, f-stop 2.8, ISO 6400. It's getting sharper, pictures getting more clear, and also if you want, you could pause this and go try out your camera as we're doing this in between each shot, so you can kind of check it out as you're learning. So yeah, just pause the video, then you can come back and watch the rest. You're definitely going to see some changes coming up, so come back. All right, next picture. Okay, so now we're at 1/500th. You get a good look at the zombie. Almost makes you want to run for your life if you hate zombies. And yeah, especially from the look on the lady's face to the left. They were coming around, circling a little bit, taking a look at what we were doing. So the kids were having an especially good amount of fun with our zombie. So anyways, yeah, that was a good time. So 1/500, 2.8, 6400. Let's go to the next picture. Okay, so here's 1/320, F-stop is 2.8, ISO 6400. There's not much really I can say about these until we get to some of the adjustments, but you can just see how the lighting is coming in and things are getting more defined and clear because you're getting more light. Now you can definitely see the blood on the jacket and the tears and even the dirt. So yeah, the people are still just in the same amount of focus with that f2.8. The main effect that is noticeable is the light. So let's move on to the next photo. Okay, so now we're at 1/200, f2.8, ISO 6400. Yeah, you get a really good look. You get the color in there of the purple shirt. You can see even a little bit of the blood splatter on the tie, in the center of the tie. You can even see how frayed the jacket is. Some of the threads coming off around the collar, the shoulder. And yeah, it's definitely bright. You definitely have a lot of light. And now some of the other settings are going to change. You're still at 2.8 6400. Okay, so now we're at 125 f2.8, and the ISO is starting to change. It's now going to 4000. And you're going to start seeing a slight bit of motion blur. Very, very subtle. The guy in the orange shirt. But not noticeable enough to where it catches your eye instantly. So let's move on to the next picture. Okay, we're at shutter priority, shutter speed of 1/50th. F-stop is 2.8, ISO is 1600. It's changing. You can see a little bit of motion blur. I'm seriously trying not to laugh. You don't want to know. Anyways, why do I keep laughing? You can see some of the slight motion blur with the woman. It's just starting where you could just get that feeling that there's like some sort of blurriness going on with their movement. But again, it's not as greatly noticeable as it will be. Because yeah, they're not walking fast enough. So that's ultimately what it is. So, and the guy on the right in the red shirt, he's walking away in a straight line, so you're not going to see it. They really would have to be moving side to side for that to be as noticeable. Anyways, all right. As I gather my composure, let's go to the next photograph. Okay, we are at the shutter speed of 1/30th. F-stop is still 2.8. That isn't adjusting yet. The ISO is now 1250. And you're getting some definitely more noticeable motion blur. The light is definitely at a maximum. And our zombie, remarkably, is not budging yet. So if he and some of the other lower numbers or a longer amount of time for that shutter speed, if he budges at all, it would be quite noticeable. But right now, he's doing pretty good. So yeah, let's move on to the next photo. Okay, so we're at 1/20th. F-stop 2.8 still. ISO is 800. And yep, getting that motion blurry. The first thing that popped out to me was the couple on the left, their feet and their legs, getting most of that motion. And then, which leads me to the zombie. And then I kind of carry over to the woman with the stroller, her foot. So motion blur is definitely kicking in. And eventually will lead to a very, very cool shot. So you see our adjustments there with the ISO. And let's move on to the next photograph. Okay, so now we're on to 1/5 of a second. F-stop is 2.8. ISO is 250. It's getting way down there. And that motion blur is definitely kicking in. shot's looking pretty cool. Um, and yeah, still the light is there. You got plenty of light. Remember, this is around 7 p.m. sunset, so it actually is fairly dark out, and you're able to catch all this, all the people, and a lot of detail that you wouldn't be able to check out otherwise. Of course, given the fact that there's the motion blur, but that is intended. All right, so next photo. Okay, so this one, shutter speed 1 second, f-stop 6.3, and ISO 100. I actually took this one a little earlier than the day, and I'm only showing you this one because this one's actually probably my favorite. I just love that motion blur, and I didn't get the on the other sequence of photographs, I didn't get enough people walking by to show you. I mean, and I waited for a while, but just couldn't get that. This one does a really good job of showing it. It's almost like, I don't know, kind of reminds me of like a time traveler, which goes along with the Back to the Future theme. With all that motion blur, he's just standing still and just everything's just going around him, that zombie. So I love this shot. It's obvious what shutter speed can do for you, or shutter priority. You could tell how the settings changed. And just for the record, when I did this on the other shot, on the other group of shots, and I lowered it to shutter priority of 1, it still lowered that ISO to 100. And that was at 7 p.m. This one was only about 20 minutes prior, so it's not that big of a difference. And your f-stop is at 6.3, so it starts adjusting that. Awesome shoot. Had a lot of fun. There's definitely a lot to take away from this, especially in regards to maybe your style of shooting. Might want to have somebody standing still and get all kinds of cool blur in the background. It can also do this type of thing if you wanted to get take a picture of like a really good building, like some really cool architecture, and you want like some cars zooming by, or you know, pretty much anything. Experiment with it, have fun with it, like we did. And yeah, let us know if you have any questions, and yeah, hopefully you enjoyed these group of shots. Okay, so there you have it. That is shutter priority, shutter speed. Again, part of the exposure triangle, which is so important. And I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed this awesome location. I'm like in awe right now, 80s guy right here. Yeah, so don't forget to, you can find me on Instagram, which is Photo Freaks and Zombie. And you can see my personal work, which is wedding photography for the most part, and some of my art on decontephoto.com. And yeah, please subscribe for some more cool locations, more tutorials, and hit the like button and leave some comments. Let us know how we're doing. Thanks for watching, Photo Freaks. We're out. Peace. Okay, so we got some bonus footage for you. Because why not, right? I had to throw in some of the pictures from the Back to the Future house because they're just too funny. Here we got the zombie that looks like he just stole someone's skateboard, and he's making a run for it, and pretty proud of it from the looks of it. We got a shutter speed at 250, f-stop 2.8, ISO 160, and let's go to the next two bonus shots. Okay, so this one is especially entertaining. He looks like she's just rolling along, la-di-da, at shutter speed 1/60th. Not a care in the world. He's got that skateboard and he's proud of it. He's at a 1/60th f-stop, 4.5 ISO, 125. Gotta love our zombie. If that's not worth subscribing for, I don't know what is. All right, next picture. Okay, and our last bonus shot is just zombie on skateboard fail, just because. And this, my friends, my photo freaks, is why we switched over to the Santa Monica Pier. Got a little bit dangerous, and he's no Michael J. Fox. So here you go. All right, hopefully you guys enjoyed these. Hopefully you had fun, and thanks for watching.